Hail and welcome back to the Excarnating the Lamb series. Now, some of you may be wondering why I named this series Excarnating the Lamb. Maybe some of you don't even know what excarnating is. Now, excarnating is a very old practice that ancient humans, I'm talking prehistoric humans, often did to their dead, where they either left the body out in the wilds to be eaten clean by wild animals until nothing but the bones remain, or they would remove the flesh and all the organs themselves and then bury the bones. Now, the reason I named it this is because this ritual that I'm proposing to you is, in essence, you are buying yourself back from the blood of the Lamb. You are buying yourself back from the blood of Christ, which, in my opinion, was needlessly shed by an angry, vengeful God who could not find it in his heart to supposedly forgive the crown piece of his creation. And if you have watched my previous video in this series, the one that is about 2.5 hours long, you will find that I am absolutely speaking from the heart when I say that, in my personal opinion, and in the opinion of more and more people, fortunately, Yahweh is an absolute evil scumbag. He is, quite frankly, Satan. Okay? If there needs to be a Satan on this planet, Yahweh is it. The figurehead of Christianity, Jesus Christ, is, in my personal opinion, or was in my personal opinion, just a man who happened to preach a lot of hippie shit. Okay? And that's fine. That's great. If you want to follow that, okay. I have no problem with that. I like messages of peace and harmony. That being said, if you mess with me, I'll mess with you. It's that simple. I am not of the turn the other cheek inclination. I follow the old Germanic ways in that sense. I don't think I should apologize for that, and I'm not going to. It is what the gods that I most closely work with have always done and have always taught, and I find comfort in that. And again, if your viewpoint is different, that's wonderful. Leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. It's that simple. You want to be my friend, we can be friends. You want to be my enemy, okay. That's how I see it. But Jesus Christ, and this requires you to have some modicum of magical knowledge, and I'm really not trying to sound pretentious here, but it's just the way it is. Jesus Christ, the long-haired, blonde, white guy with blue eyes that you see in churches these days, that's not Christ. That is, in my opinion, a servitor, a figurehead, a mascot to serve Yahweh's agenda. Jesus Christ was Jewish. He was not light-skinned. He did not have blue eyes, and he very likely did not have long hair, because you know what the Bible says about guys with long hair, right? Strongly disagree with it. But you know. So, this ritual is not aimed at Jesus Christ. I have nothing against Jesus Christ. I do, however, fucking hate Yahweh. Not only that, Yahweh hates us. Read the Bible. You'll see. Read the Old Testament in particular before you try to gloss it over. You want more of my reasoning on why I say that? You want more of my reasoning on why I am giving you this ritual? Watch the previous video if you can sit through 2.5 hours of ranting and explaining. So, to cut this short, I am going to cut to the chase. I am going to give you the denunciation ritual that you can perform if you really are done, like I am, with Christianity. If you really want to strip Yahweh, his influence, and the wrongly and needlessly shed blood of Jesus Christ from your soul, you are going to perform this ritual, or something like it, of your own design, if that's what you want to do, by all means. Now, this is but one of at least 2 rituals that I have in mind that I am going to be uploading to this series. The other one will be an unbaptism, to solidify and absolutely truly finalize and reverse the being drowned and drenched in the blood of the Lamb. Because the Lamb never needed to be slaughtered, because we were never sinners. So, this one is just the denunciation. And I will tell you first what you need. You will need to sit facing either north or south. Why do I say north or south? You may choose north if that means to you that the pentagram is upright and you feel comfortable working with that. You may face south if you feel it adds an extra layer of anti-Christianity and you are technically, because the north is up and south is down, if that means you're going to sit in a reverse pentagram from your perspective. If you are so inclined, do what you need to do. I personally prefer to use the upright pentagram because I like having the spirit over the elements in that particular interpretation. But, if you have other meanings to your pentagrams and if you are working more on the left-hand path of things, be my guest. Not my concern. I'm just here to give you this ritual. Alright, so you are going to need at least between 12 and 16 pieces of blank printer-sized paper. Where I'm from, we call it A4. I am, unfortunately, even though I've been here for years in the US, don't know what the exact measurements are that you use, but A4. Google that if you don't know what that is. A4-sized paper. You will find out. It's basically just standard printer-sized paper, what you would put in a printer. Likely you are only going to be writing on 6 to 8 of these pages, but I am recommending you about double, just to be safe, depending on how big you write, how many mistakes you make, because, as always, once you are in the ritual circle, don't leave it until the ritual is complete. Now, you are going to grab a pen. Just a normal pen is perfectly fine. You really don't need a quill with, like, dove blood ink or whatever. I mean, if you really want to, you can use whatever the fuck you want to write, but don't use a pencil. You want it to be ink. You want it to be ink because it's permanent. You want it to preferably be black ink. You may use blue if you really have nothing else, but I would recommend black. So, you will, just in case, need 1 bowl of water. And I say just in case, because if you are like me, when you are releasing stuff, you may start dry heaving. That's usually what I do. I will go, and just release stuff that way. It's how I operate. A friend of mine starts farting uncontrollably. Somebody else may sweat it out. I don't know or care how you release it. Just grab that bowl of water just in case you need to puke, because water is a conduit for energy, so that it just doesn't, fly off, just in case. If you feel the urge to puke in that bowl of water. Keep your ritual space clean, alright? If nothing else. You will need 1 cauldron with an inner diameter of at least 4.5 inches. So it needs to at least have roughly this much space inside of it. Alright? So if you have a bigger cauldron, that's fantastic. However, your ritual circle is going to be pretty big. See what works for you. Alternatively, if there really is no other way, you can finalize the ritual and burn it afterwards. I would prefer if you have the methods and the means to do it inside of the circle while the ritual is still active. You are going to further need one lighter or a box of matches, striking matches, or both. You are going to need one abalone shell. You are going to need to fill that abalone shell with dirt, earth, it's cleansing. You are going to need 1 or 2 charcoal discs, self-igniting. You are going to use a blend of rue, preferably black salt, sage, and hyssop. You may recognize some of those ingredients from an uncrossing bath or something like that. You are going to need at least 5 candles for all the points of your pentagram. I would recommend a 6th one in the center in front of you, partially to focus on, partially to hold light on your paper as you're writing it, and perhaps because you want to add another symbolic meaning to it, but at the very least 5 candles. You are going to need a white candle at the top or bottom, depending on which way you are facing, of the pentagram. However, you always want to make sure that your point of the pentagram is not behind you. You want it to be in front of you. I suppose that if you think of it that way, you could interpret it as the pentagram always being upright. But that is up to you, again, whatever meaning you want to apply to it. The white candle represents your spirit and your soul in this case. Alright, to the front right, so you have a pentagram, 5-pointed star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so you have front center, that's the white candle. Front right, you are going to put a purple candle. This is your representation of your upper 2 chakras. This represents your 3rd eye. Because, as I mentioned in the last video, it represents also the crown chakra. Because these 2 are blocked if you are a Christian and you try to work with other deities, with magic, etc. Again, if you want a full explanation, watch the other video. So, purple candle, your upper 2 chakras, your intuition, your gifts, your psychic connection, your connection to the divine, to the source itself, your connection to your own divine soul. And it also serves as representation to show I am divine, along with that white candle, because again, it represents your soul and your spirit. So, these things, these 2, they serve as symbolism, as a reclamation of your divinity, of your own autonomous divine self. You are going to put a light blue candle, front left, point of the star. This not necessarily has anything to do with the elements, but if you wish, you could attribute elemental meanings to these 4 points as well. More on that later. This is a suggestion. If this does not fit in the symbolism that you personally use, with your candles, with your colors, not my problem. You can attribute meaning to it. However, it is important that you use the colors that you feel represent the specific things that I mean. Alright, so if you do not associate your crown and 3rd eye chakra with the color purple, you do not change the meaning of the candle that you are placing in that front right point of the star. You are instead changing the color of the candle to a color that matches the description that I have given you. This is essential for the ritual. The color matters less than the intent behind it. So for me, the color purple means my upper two chakras. It means my third eye, my intuition, my connection to these things and to the divine, along with the white. All right. If you, for example, associate the color, gold or something, whatever. If you associate the color gold with these things, with your intuition, with the divine, with your connection to source, then you are going to place a gold candle in the right front star point. Okay? So these things are, as always with magic, relatively flexible. But it is important that you attribute your intent, as I have stated. So, front left candle. Just a side note. In case that you somehow feel that these colors do not match your personal understanding of these things. And that's fine. I don't care. I have heard no complaints so far of the ones that I have conducted this ritual with, that I have guided them in. But in case this is the case for you, you are free to use whatever you feel. Okay, so front left. If we are going by my definitions, which for the purpose of this video we are, then you are going to use the color attributions as I have stated them. So you are going to use a light blue candle, front left star point. Right, so far we have front center white, front right purple, front left light blue. Light blue because blue is often said to be the color of the throat chakra. It is also the color of water, usually associated with water magic, with the element of water, sometimes dark blue, depending on, what specific purposes you're trying to use the water element or color for. It is also the color of cleansing, because water is usually said to be cleansing. Excuse me. So, because it is to me, and it also happens to be the color associated to the throat chakra, and I used to be vocal about my Christian beliefs, so to me this had a very significant, important, attribution here. The color blue will represent the purification of your throat chakra. It will represent the purification and undoing of the Christian filth, the Yahweh indoctrination that you have spewed throughout your life, giving praises to a tyrannical God. You are reclaiming and healing your throat chakra. You are going to instead from now on use it to speak words of healing to those who deserve it. You are going to use it, if you are so inclined, to speak words that crash upon persons like a waterfall. You are going to speak words that are based in your true self, in your true, authentic, individual self, your own individuality, that part of source that decided to become you, that individual, that however you want to see it. You get my meaning. You are going to put a green candle in the rear right point of the star. This green candle is representative of your heart chakra. It is also representative of abundance and, other forms of abundance like money and stuff, but that specific money definition is not really relevant here unless as was in my case, I was being kept financially poor by Yahweh as punishment. So you are going to add that green candle there. Why? Because it represents the reclamation of your heart, your true self, your true emotions, free from repression, free from all the adherence to needless dogma and bullshit. You are going to attribute that. You are going to truly become your free, authentic self. All right? You are going to feel the things you need to feel. You are going to express the things you need to feel, which of course also ties back up into here, and into here, and into here. Your entire body. Alright. Because it is from the heart that we should be doing things, and from the head, and from who we are as a being. These are things that Yahweh takes from those that He takes under His care. So, abundance of the self, abundance of individuality, abundance of life, abundance of being able to do whatever the fuck you want to do without the restraints and oppression of Yahweh. If you want to fuck your girlfriend tonight, go fuck your girlfriend tonight. Alright? If you want to work with ISIS tonight, you're going to work with ISIS tonight. If you want to work with Surtur, or Loki, or Odin, if you want to work with the Morrigan, if you want to work with whatever deity you feel you want to work with, because you feel a connection to them, you are going to do so tonight. You are going to break Yahweh's chains of slavery. That is what that green candle stands for. You are going to live your life with passion, like the man, the woman, or whatever you identify as, and you are going to be them. You are going to be you. You are going to be yourself, finally. You are going to place a yellow candle to the rear left of yourself, in that last point of the pentagram that we have not yet filled with a candle. This yellow candle, as you may have guessed from the previous ones, represents your solar plexus chakra. It also represents happiness. It also represents the sun. It represents warmth. It represents enlightenment. In that sense, light is shining on you. So, as you can see, all these colors in their meaning, they tie back into the white candle, because white is pure. It's how you're supposed to be, untainted by anything else. At least that's the symbolism, again, that I attribute to it. That doesn't mean that black is tainted, by the way, because the sixth candle, I want it to be black if you have to choose one. However, we'll get to that one. That yellow candle to the left rear of you. It is the solar plexus. It is therefore the seat of the self, the individual that you currently are on this planet, in this body. And it is an expression of all the things you like that you have been afraid to like because of repression. So all these colors, they all tie in together, because make no mistake, all these chakras that are being dislodged, that are being spun too fast or too slow, all these chakras that are being limited or overactivated in their capacities of what they should be doing as a result of your servitude and enslavement to Yahweh. Regardless of whether you enslaved yourself to Yahweh willingly because you either did so out of fear or out of misplaced love. You are going to live life to its fullest, unshackled and unchained from this moment onward. So, if you really, 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 really want to blaspheme against Yahweh, and in my mind it is not blaspheming, it is breaking free from a tyrant, keep that in mind. That symbolism of reverse crosses and shit, it means nothing to me. Because, in my opinion, it's still being shackled and chained to it. But if you call yourself a Satanist or something, whatever, that's fine, I don't care. I really don't. You can use whatever symbolism is comfortable to you, but I am saying, to me, it just feels like another shackle. So, hey, if you want to use a reverse, an inverted cross in your ritual, go ahead, be my guest, I don't care. It's just, it doesn't resonate with me, because it just is more Christianity in my mind. I don't care. Whatever. Do what thou wilt. Yeah? So, you may even grab a Bible if you want. And you can use it in this ceremony, in this ritual, however the fuck you want. I don't care. Again, I say that a lot. I don't care, because I don't. I'm here to give you the template for this ritual, and you can expound on it. Make it your own. Be creative. Be free, because that's what this is about. All right? So, you are going to grab a plate as well while you're setting up this ritual, obviously, because once you light these candles, the ritual has begun, and there is no turning back and no leaving the circle. All right? So, you are going to set this all up beforehand in that specific image, regardless of whatever way you're facing. If you're feeling a little hardcore, and if you maybe have some extra black salt laying around, you want to connect all these candles. This is not necessary. You can also visualize it in your intuitive vision, in your third eye, whatever you want to call it. Draw your ritual circle, either in the physical with the salt, or draw it with your third eye. Imagine it. Create it. You may also, if you desire, actually physically create the pentagram. If you feel right doing that, wonderful, go ahead. It's not necessary. I have mostly done it by just having the individual visualized stuff, so that works just as well. But if you are the kind of person, and I appreciate that, if you're that kind of person, if you want to go the extra mile, if you want to go the extra way, do it. So, you're going to have a plate, you're going to slap your abalone shell, which is filled with earth, and you're going to put your charcoal on top of that, and you're going to sit that in front of you. You are going to grab your favorite incense. If you want, you can have some black magic incense if that feels extra blasphemous to you. I don't fucking care. Alright, use some pagan magic. I use pagan magic incense because I felt that was appropriate for my own personal path, because, hey, it's who I work with usually. So, you can use whatever incense. If you feel like your ritual could use an extra boost, use myrrh, whether in resin or incense form. I don't mind. Use your symbolism. You are free to build upon it, once again, like I said. But it is important for this ritual that you use that blend. You are going to put that blend of rue, salt, sage, hyssop, black salt, excuse me. You are going to put that in in a blender, or you're going to put it in a mortar and pestle. You're going to grind it up, as you do, and you're going to put it in a bowl. And you're going to put that next to the plate with the abalone shell with earth and charcoal disc on top of it. Alright, so as you can probably guess, during the ritual, you are going to light the charcoal stick. It's going to ignite itself. It's going to go do its thing. You're going to put it back on the earth in the abalone shell, and you're going to grab with your right hand, because that's your giving hand, you're going to sprinkle that on the charcoal disc. Alright, so you're going to burn that, and that incense is going to be a sort of purifying, cleansing incense. That is the attribution that you are going to be using for that. Now, black salt, the reason I said specifically black salt is because it is a ward against negativity. And from where I'm standing and from where you're standing, if you're doing this ritual, black salt is therefore going to be effective against Christianity because its false light is toxic to humans. It's just that simple. We are not creatures who should be inhibiting ourselves like that. That breeds all sorts of repression and mental illness. As a student of psychology, the more I learn about psychology, the stronger I feel about that, actually. I think we need, as human beings, we need spirituality, but we do not need religion. We absolutely do not need religion, especially when it is accompanied by such heavy dogma, like the Abrahamic religions are. So, you are going to put everything so far. So we're going to put that abalone shell in the bowl with the incense blend. We're going to grab an incense stick or some resin or something. And if you use the resin, you might want to ground it up with the rest of the herbs and the salt that I have you make. All right. But if you don't use the resin, you may want to grab an incense holder like this, and you put your incense stick in this little hole or whatever you use, and once the ritual begins, you're going to light it. You want your puke bowl of water, and you may not even need it. Just let it be there, just in case, unless you already know how you react to removing energy from your body. Because if you know how you react to removing energy from your body, you will know if you need it or not. You may also want to smudge yourself before you begin with the ritual, cleanse yourself, but really it's not necessary because the incense and the incense blend that you're burning on the charcoal disc also has the same properties. So you have your pen, you have a dozen to about 16 paper sheets. You have the bowl of water, you have your cauldron to burn something in, or alternatively you could burn something outside of it. You have a lighter and or matches with the matchbox to strike it on. You have your blend. You have at least a yellow, purple, white, green, and light blue candle. Or, again, whatever colors you feel are appropriate to the definitions that I have given you. This is another rundown. Now, if you want, you can use a sixth candle, and you are going to place that in front of you. I would recommend that you use this sixth candle. Why? Because I want you to do this ritual in darkness. I want you to do it after sundown, and I want you to do it with all the lights off, except for the candles around you. You're going to sit in the wide open space that you have created for yourself inside your ritual circle. You're going to, if you want, draw the circle around you, maybe even with the salt, draw out the pentagram. You are going to first light the white candle. The white candle is lit first because it represents, in this case, your soul and your spirit. Now, the reason that you are doing this is because you want to make the statement that this document that you are going to be writing is from your very soul. It is from the very core of your being. You are going to absolutely, on all levels, denounce Yahweh and his bullshit. That is why you light the white candle first. It is also the head of the pentagram. It presides over everything else. So everything that happens afterwards comes directly from the soul. That is the symbolism here. You may utter some words or phrasings if you like. Stating it out loud is said to sometimes make things more powerful. If you adhere to this, then do so. I would like you to get a little creative if you speak words. I am not going to dictate them for you, because I will be dictating quite a lot. So, next, you are going to light the candle to the left back of you. And as you do so, in your mind, you see the line from the top of the pentagram being drawn to that candle. Alright? That is your yellow candle. Remember all the attributions that we have applied to this color, or to this position at least. So, it comes from the soul, and it goes to the lowest chakra involved, the solar plexus. You are going to then light the candle to your front left, to your front right, excuse me, to the front right. That is the purple candle, which is the 2 upper chakras of the 7 that are most well known. Now, what that symbolizes, the way I have designed this, because A, it also draws a nice star, and B, it basically says the seat of the self, you, the individual you currently are, it comes from the soul. You, as the current individual that you are incarnated as, is being inspired by your soul to break free from these chains. Alright? So you are going to first light the soul and say, this is where it comes from, this is where it started manifesting in the person I am, the things that happened to me, the stuff I know, which is where the purple candle comes in. You intuitively know that this is the right decision for you. You have done things, you have gone through things, engaging your mind, you have researched things, you have filled your mind with knowledge and criticism and counter-arguments and logic in this particular sense regarding Christianity. And you have likely come to the conclusion, if you were doing this, I would sure hope so, that Yahweh is a very unjust and despicable being. That is where the purple candle comes in. So, that is 3 candles lit, 2 more to go. Then, you light the one to the left front of you. That is the throat. That is also healing. So, from the soul to the person, the actions you have taken, from the thoughts you have thought, you are now cleansing yourself through this ritual. You have begun the healing process. You are washing away the blood of the Lamb. And you are now prepared to speak on these matters. That's what your throat chakra partially is. It is speech, honest words. Words of will, manifesting them through your speech, through verbalizing things. And imagine, of course, that that line is being drawn. The pentagram is almost complete. From the blue, it goes to the green. This knowledge has now truly filled your heart, and you are now free to express who you truly are, and you have decided in your heart of hearts that you are ready to let this go. So that's why you light the green candle. Plus, being free from Yahweh's slavery now means that you get to be and have abundant and have abundance. But the pentagram is not yet complete. For now, we need to connect it back to the soul. So after you visualize that line from the blue to the green, you visualize the green to the soul. Your heart's desire has now been fulfilled. and your soul is happy and free from this contract. That is the intention that is going to be put forth through this ritual by creating this legally binding document on a spiritual level. So, you are going to grab your pen. You are going to light your incense. You're going to light the incense blend on the charcoal disc. And from the smoke, you're going to pass either 3 times or, 6 times if you're so inclined, 9 times, whatever. I personally did 9 times because, 9 is an important number in the Germanic Norse cosmos. So, use whatever number you feel inclined to use. I would recommend sticking with the threefold stuff, but again, it is at the end of the day up to you. You are then going to smudge your pen, going to declare this a sacred tool of writing, or however you want to put it. All right. The pentagram is complete. You are sitting in your protected space. You are exerting yourself from your seat of power, as it were, from your ritual space. You are putting forth your will and your intent, and you are going to grab your paper stack, and you are going to start writing. In the bottom right corner, you are going to label every page that you write, page 1, page 2, page 3, on and on until you are done. On the first page, in the left upper corner of the first page, not on any page else, just on the first page, you are going to write the current date, whatever it is in your time zone. If you are conducting this ritual shortly before midnight and the date changes while you are working on the ritual, write the date on which you expect to be done, because you are submitting it on the day that you have actually finished the ritual. So if you start at 11 a.m. and you get done at 2 or 3 a.m., and make no mistake, this ritual is likely going to take an hour or 2 free. I have conducted this several times now, and it has usually taken about 3 hours in total with preparation. So then you are going to start writing, but you are first going to give it a title. You are going to place this document in front of you after you have written page 1 and the date in the upper right corner and upper left corner respectively. Now after this, you are going to give it a title, which you will place in the center top, but below both the date and the page number. So here's those two, and you're going to place a title here. You're going to label it whatever you want. I suggest you keep it formal and official. I suggest that you are going to write something along the lines of denunciation of my service to the Lord Yahweh and adherence to his law. You are going to write is the following. On this day, and then you will enter the date which you expect to be done. Again, you start at 11 p.m., write the following date. So you write the date of the day you are done in your time zone. 2018, or whatever year it is that you are currently watching it, CE. Don't write AD. It's not Anno Domini. It's no longer the year of our Lord. He's not your Lord. That's why you're doing this. You are going to write CE, Common Era. On this day, comma, enter date, comma, I, comma, you enter your full name. Now, if you are a woman, I want you to use your maiden name, because it was the real name given to your individual incarnation. You are not going to use your husband's name or your wife's name or whatever. Use your maiden name, because that is more your identity than the surname that you have adopted from your spouse, if you are married. In the bottom left of the page that you are currently on, you write date of signing and you add the date. In the bottom right, you add signature and then you draw your signature. And if you are so inclined, and I do recommend it, you add some blood to it. Now, of course, again, if you have had issues with automutilation or something along those lines, I would not recommend that you go cutting yourself. If you are a woman, it is a little easier to circumvent in that manner. If you are menstruating, you can use that. If you are a guy, that's a little more complex, but again, you don't necessarily have to sign it with blood. It is not really necessary. Again, I would recommend it for extra reinforcement, but it is what it is. Now, there are several things that you can change. Like, there are certain wordings in the third paragraph, in the sight of my non-Christian ancestors, in the sight of the Spirit and the source itself. You can technically leave that out, stuff like that. It is optional. Feel free to tinker it, adjust it, but I do want to say one thing. Do not use the names of any planetary deities here. Don't use the word Odin or the name Odin or whatever. Please don't do that. Why? Because it is roughly on the same level. Yahweh is a planetary god here. Odin is a planetary god here in that sense. So you want to address this to higher up, because Yahweh will then not be able to argue it. So at least this is my personal findings. However, I do recommend don't use the names of any and all gods, local or otherwise, that are well known on this planet for this matter. Now, there is a last thing. I have had this done with the people that I personally know, because I am one of them, and I can easily bring up a couple friends who are also engaged in this work, who are more than eager to sign their signatures on this document. Yahweh has a tendency to ask for 2 witnesses in his legal proceedings. It's in the Bible. Now, if you can find them, I would recommend that you acquire the signatures of 2 people. However, if you can't, it's technically fine, because it is a free will decision that you are making from your soul. So, it is not required, but I suppose it will help enforce your case. Again, as many things are with magic, I have repeated that several times throughout this video. Several things are optional. This is one of them. I have personally done it. So, it is what it is. You burn the papers after you have signed it, sealed it, written it. You roll it up, paper by paper. You burn it in your cauldron. You first set fire to the first one, then to the second one, after the first one is burned out. And as the flames of the last page are burning, whatever is left of the incense, you sprinkle it over your cauldron, or you sprinkle it in your cauldron, it will burn too. That's pretty much it. You are going to know that after this, within the next few days, you are going to pretty much officially be free once it has been processed. And that pretty much concludes the ritual. So I hope that this is going to be of help to some of you. I'm likely going to catch some flack for it from some Bible-thumping individuals. Whatever, quote your favorite Bible verse, quote your Quran, I don't care what you do, have fun with it. You know, if that makes you feel better about yourself, do it. I'm just trying to reach a certain crowd with this. I don't really know why I suddenly felt the inspiration several hours ago to start writing this. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. And I will update this series at a later date to give you my unbaptism ritual that I have yet to experiment a little further with before I submit this to the public. Again, it is a template that I am giving you. I will write in the description before the actual video, once I have decided where to add it and how, where you can find for this document that I am writing, or that I have written for you, that you can expound on, change as you see fit. So that was it. I hope to either catch you next time at my rune videos in the Elder Fufark Divination 101 series, or perhaps in this particular series. Thank you so much for watching, and go and be free. Do what thou wilt. Hail.